All right, what's going on, everyone out there? Welcome to a brand new review. And this time we'll be checking out a film that was sent to me by Dark Sky Films, and you can pick this up on January 5th, and I highly recommend that you pick up this film when it comes out on January 5th. And that is the film titled Deathgasm. Now, this film has quite the buzz going on right now in the community. Over the last month, this has been on video on demand, and people have been talking about this film quite a bit, and quite a hefty positive buzz around this film, I have to say. Basically because of the fact that you could definitely see some kind of influence in this film by Peter Jackson. It's highly stylized and very reminiscent of Dead Alive, which is a really good thing for this type of film, which we'll get into in a while. But the director, Jason Lee Howden, this is his first film, and he does a really fantastic job, I have to say. It's a really fun and refreshing story that is pretty generic, but it's able to take a little bit of a different twist on it simply because of the fact that it has a heavy metal background to it. And this isn't the only heavy metal film that has come out this year. Films like The Devil's Candy, which came out a few months. Well, it's on the festival circuit right now and should get a release next year. But that film has a very similar heavy metal soundtrack to it. So there's been quite a few heavy metal films that have come out this year, but nothing like this film. So this film basically follows Brody. He is a metalhead outcast type of a figure. He has to move in with his aunt and uncle after his mom goes to jail for doing something really funny. I'm not going to give it away, but you basically learn about it in the first minute of the film. But he basically has to go live with his aunt and his uncle because his mom goes to jail, and he is totally doesn't fit in with his aunt and his uncle and his cousin. They're Christian, and of course, metal is the devil's music. So he right away gets shunned by his family. So he goes to school, still doesn't fit in. He becomes friends with the geek, the Dungeons and Dragons type of a geek character. And then one day after school, he goes to a music store, and here he meets Sack. And Sack is another metalhead type character, an outlaw, does what he wants, and they instantly become friends. And they ultimately join a band, or create a band, Brody, Sack, and the two friends from the Dungeons and Dragons type characters. So they create a band, and they come up with the name Deathgasm. So one day, Sack and Brody are looking into this abandoned house that used to be owned by a famous metal musician, and they come across him living in this house. He's all washed up, and he gives them these sheets of music that he says protect with your life. And they go back and they play this music, and it ultimately summons an evil entity that turns everybody into these eyeless zombie type characters. So it's basically Sack and Brody and their two friends and this blonde chick who is the love interest, and they're basically just trying to survive. And this is where the Dead Alive aspect comes into play as they go around just slaughtering zombies. Over the top gore, but its practical effects looks really good. Some really hilarious kills in this film, and overall just a really fun tone to this movie. If you guys like goofy films, films like Hobo with a Shotgun and Dead Alive, like I said earlier, all of Peter Jackson's films, then you're definitely going to dig this film. It's really entertaining, and I highly recommend it that you guys pick it up. I know that the film is, like I said in the beginning, it's done really well. It already has a sequel planned. I talked about that last week on the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast, the Jack Frost episode. And they say there's going to be more gore in the first 10 minutes of this entire film, which is really over the top. So this film is really gory. I know the guy who did the effects for the Dead Alive reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it. He did the effects on this film, and they're, like I said, they're really well done. So if you guys get a chance, pick this up. I think you'll really have a really fun time with it. It's not a film to be taken serious, but just turn it on with a couple of friends and drink some beers and watch it, because I think you'll have a really good time. And like I said, it will definitely be pretty high on my list of my favorite films from 2015. So check it out. So that is my review of Deathgasm. If you guys like it, please give it a thumbs up. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/NESRuler22. And I'll talk to you guys soon with another review. Like I said, I cannot recommend Deathgasm enough. Check it out. Alright guys, I'll see you later. See you guys.